All right, boys. So a couple of people have watched my Conlang showcase video, and they said they liked the orthography, which is cool. So I'm gonna be a nice guy. I'm gonna teach you how to actually use it. And by teaching you how to use it, I don't mean like how the orthography works, like how to put together words, etc. Because if you want to learn how to do that, you can just like go on my website that has the reference grammar and everything. And there's a chapter 3 here, conveniently named orthography, and it has all the info that you need. It's very detailed, at the same time very concise, so everything that you need to know to use this to actually write things is here. You have the syllable, glyphs, you have the logographs, you have punctuation, yada yada, etc. All of that is here, using also these examples. I have examples here, and the reason that I have these examples here is because I use SVG files. Now, SVG is a type of vector graphics format that, well, basically any kind of software where you're going to create fonts is going to use vector graphics because unlike pixels, where, you know, if you stretch it, it's going to be pixelated. This is not pixels. This is just like coordinates. And so like you can stretch it however much you want and it doesn't lose quality or anything, which is what you want in a font. Now, this is not a font creation tool. I wouldn't use that for two reasons. One is that I would have to learn how to use new software, and I don't really. That sounds like way too much effort. And B, this script is a little bit too weird to code in a font maker. Someone could probably do it, not me. No, this is just this is Inkscape. It's a free vector graphics tool, which I use because, well, A, it's free, and B, it's pretty simple to use. It's, you know, it has everything that I need. And also, one other thing that this video is not going to be is a tutorial on how to use Inkscape, because you can learn that anywhere. There's probably YouTube videos or whatever. And yeah, it's pretty simple. It's not rocket science. You can probably learn how to use it in like an hour. Now, one cool thing about SVG files is that it's a format based on XML or something like that. I don't know. It's like I'm not that much of a spurg, but what that means is that these files are basically just, well, actually, let me show you. So if I open this file, which this is just a single character, like the file with a single character, you can open the same file in a text editor. Like you can see, like, I opened this same exact file in a text editor, and this is the same thing. This is the same. So it's just a bunch of text, and well, all this shit doesn't matter. The only two things that matter are this view box, which is the canvas size, and this, well, specifically this. These are the coordinates. This tells you like where things connect to one another, etc. And so that's how I was able to have all these examples here. Like I didn't import any files or anything like that. This is all just like, if you look at here, you can actually see that HTML has a very nice tag called SVG, which has an attribute called viewbox, which is consistent with this. And inside of that, it has another tag called path, which has an attribute called D, which again is consistent with this tag and this attribute. So you can just literally copy paste this into an HTML file and then style it however you please, and voila, you have. It's very convenient if you're especially if you're documenting your language on a website, which I don't think a lot of people do, but some people probably do. This is a very nice and simple way of porting your orthography onto it. Anyway, enough of that. Let's go back here. Actually, let's close this. Let's go back here. And, well, now let's get on to the main event. How do you actually put words together? Is there some trick to it? The answer is no. It's just a lot of manual labor. So if you look up here, this is like the little thing that I read at the end of my video. This is the sample, the reading sample or whatever. This is what I did first, and it's literally just yeah, I just did this character by character, assembled this blood, sweat, and tears, and other fluids, perhaps. And so if you want to write a word, let's say, I don't know, like, okay, it's fall, so let's use this. This is ikaions. This is the word for fall. So if we're going to do that, first we have the syllable character for E. So we just take this. Let's put it here. We can get rid of this. We don't need this. Keep the frame for now. So we have E. Then we take the character for Ka, which is here. Right. And then we have E. And because this is kind of like a stranded vowel, I can just use the mirrored version here. Right. And then pop it down here. And then we have an O. We have a coda N. Whoops. Whatever. And then we have a final S, or not a final S, like a S in the middle of things. Interconsonantal S, I guess. And then a final T. And voila, you have your word. And, oh wait, no, you don't have your word, because then I need to get rid of the excess. And that's basically all there is to it so far. This is like the most basic version, right? So I can get rid of the frames. I don't really need this. And then you just do that for every word that you need. Now, there's of course like different styles to it, right? So some basic things that you can do. You can go to like stroke style. You can make this a little thicker like this. You can change it in like here into like these rounded edges, or yeah, rounded caps or whatever. So you get like a nice round font. However, the font style that I use for my video is, it looks like this, or this, right? You have these like cutouts here. How do you do that? Again, is there some trick to it? No. Oh, well, there's a trick, but it's again just manual labor. So I'm going to show you the process behind this. Let's copy this here. Right, move this here or whatever, and let's go through it. So actually I'm going to switch my view to outline overlay, which is, I really like this view because you can see the thin lines are the actual vectors, and then the gray thing is the actual thickness of the lines. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this 3 millimeters or whatever unit you're using thick. And then you're going to start seeing some things. Except, oh yeah, okay, there is one example here that I want to show you. So you can see that this thing here, it doesn't really align with like this or this or this. And the reason for that is that, well, the lines are like 3 millimeters thick, but that doesn't extend past the end of the vector. So to fix that, what we're gonna do is you're gonna click this. This turns this is a square cap here, and this basically extends the thickness of the line not only to like the sides of the line but also the ends of the line. So now it's like nice and flush with this. And then I want to check all other spots for that. Like here, for example, I can do that. Except now it's like, this is cringe. All right. Yeah, I can just join these nodes. It's going to be fine. Whatever. And yeah, I can do this. And now this is flush with, well, you can't see, but if you could, you can see that this is flush with this. So that's like step one. And step two is you turn these lines into objects. So now this is just like a 3 millimeter thick line, but it's not an actual object. It's just a line. So what I do is for each one of these, I go to path, and I change it. I choose stroke to path. And now this is an actual object. And I do it for all of these. And now we can begin the cutouts. So first thing that I need to do is, you can see that anywhere there's like an overlap, I'm going to need to get rid of that. So first I'm going to merge these three objects because I'm going to cut into this. And merging is union, I guess. It's called union. And then the trick is that I add a stroke or a border of 1.5 millimeter thickness. I'm turning it red so you can see. I add a stroke, meaning a border. Then I turn that stroke into an object. I ungroup these two things, and then I use this to cut into other objects. Unfortunately, yeah, I'm going to have to join these two. And then I'm also going to... Oh, by the way, this Inkscape does this weird thing where sometimes it gets like broken, like here. Like, I don't know why I did that, but thankfully right now this is not very relevant. Also, Inkscape does this thing that I don't like, that when you use an object to cut into another object, it uses like which one is more in the front. It cuts into the other one instead of like which one you selected first cuts into the other one. Anyway, so I basically move it to the top so that it's actually over this one. I select the two, and then I do this one's difference. And now you can see, voila, that we have this nice cutout here. And you basically do that for everything else. That's done. So we can merge all of these together. And now we have the entire word done. Go back to the normal display mode, and that is exactly the same thing as I did here. So that's cool. And then one final thing, I use this like once literally throughout my video, but there's this like style that I came up with at some point that kind of looks like this. So the final thing I'm going to do is show you how to do that. So first things first, okay, let's go back to the outline overlay mode. First thing we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this object, and we're going to move it to the side. I use shift plus arrows because then I can just slot it back in pretty easily. And first thing we do is we give it a stroke of 1, and we do the same thing as before. So we turn the stroke into an object, ungroup, but then we merge both together. And then the next thing we do is we go to extensions, generate from path and long shadow, and I have it set to 2 and 45. There you go. And then it turns it into a mess of objects. So we're gonna ungroup these and ungroup these again, and then we're gonna merge them back together. And now there's a lot of like cleanup to do, because you can see it's like, yeah, doesn't look very pretty. So I'm just gonna get all of these like nodes from the inside of the object cleaned up. Okay, now that that's done, we can actually choose the color. Let's just use red, whatever, to fill this object. This is going to be like the background color here. And then we're going to give it a stroke of 1.5 this time. Turn it black. Actually, let's go back to the regular view so you can see better. I'm going to turn it black this time. And we're gonna do it like this, so it actually is behind the background. Now there's still going to be some spots you're going to need to clean up. That's because there's like multiple nodes in the same place, so you can just go in and like just delete them basically. And I think that's good. So then what we do is we can just slot it back here, place it behind the original thing, and we're done. That's how to do that. And if you want to do this like polka dot pattern that I have here, that's also pretty simple. Again, you duplicate this object. We're going to get rid of the stroke. We don't need the stroke this time. And for fill, instead of a solid color, we're going to go to textures, and this. No, it's not this. It's this. There you go. And then I'm going to make it like smaller, whatever, and give it a color of like, let's make it like darker. There you go. Put it back here, except, well, this needs to be, again, over that. Put it back here, and now you have your nice little word. So that's basically all there is to know. I'm going to put the download link to this file specifically in the description in case you want to play around with it. And if you have any other questions, or if you want me to make a video about anything specific, feel free to leave a comment. Goodbye.